Hey there, YouTube. No, it's been a while again. So, first off, I'd like to apologize for my crazy hair right now because I just got finished working out. But it has been a while since my last vlog, which was my birthday vlog. That was at Warner Brothers. Um, you remember that? I looked extremely tired in that, but a lot has happened since then. So, a couple weeks after my birthday, um, me and my sister went to Universal Studios. My sister Savannah, you remember her from my Disneyland vlog. But we went to Universal Studios. We went for like from opening to like 3 o'clock or so. And then we went back to her apartment, and then we got changed to go to dinner at the one and only Musso and Frank Grill in Hollywood. It is the oldest restaurant in Hollywood. It was opened in 1919. And it was used in one of the opening scenes of one of my favorite movies ever, a movie that came out in 2019, literally 100 years after Musso and Frank Grill opened, called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And there are 2 rooms. There's the old room that originally opened in 1919, and then the new room that opened in the 1950s, which the new room is what they filmed in for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's the one that has the bar. You go and watch the movie, you'll be able to see what it looked like, but that's the room that we sat in, and our table was one over from where they would have set up to film. Like, where our table was is where the cameras would be for filming the movie. But yeah, we went to the Musso and Frank Grill. I got myself a steak with béarnaise sauce. Oh, I ordered it medium rare. It was a New York strip steak, about 12 or 16 ounces, whatever ounce their steak is there. Oh my gosh, it is so good. I highly suggest going there. And so, flash forward, the next week after that, I was in Arizona for a week. I was out there for baseball reasons. Won't exactly say why, I'm just gonna mention that I was out there for baseball, and I got to go to a couple Arizona Fall League games. And yeah, that was a really cool experience. Got to meet some really cool people there on that trip. I met a baseball player, not gonna say which one, just for privacy stakes and whatnot, but I met a baseball player there. Did I say privacy stakes? Sorry, Musso and Frank Grill is still in my mind. Privacy sake. See my fingers coming around here. And then after that, recently I went with my parents to go and see the movie The French Dispatch, Wes Anderson's new film. I'm a big fan of his work. I realized this was the very first film that he's made that I've seen in theaters. I've had the opportunity to see 2 of his other movies, being Isle of Dogs, just never went. I was old enough for the film, just never went. And then The Grand Budapest Hotel, which has since become my favorite movie of his. That was back in 2014, and I was still too young to go see that. So yeah, and then the day after that, we went with my sister and her boyfriend to go and see No Time to Die. That was my first ever James Bond film, so now I have to go back and watch the rest. And I was thinking more so along the lines of Daniel Craig. Pierce, I could go and look at some of the others. Like, I think Pierce Brosnan was James Bond at one point. Of course, Sean Connery, the original James Bond, as we know. And then last week, this would be on Wednesday. This is Monday the 22nd, I think. I'd have to double check the date. I'm not entirely sure. But last week on Wednesday, so I had been driving with a permit for about 4 months. Since I am over 18, they said that once I turn 18, I'm able to get my license. Took me 3 tries, but I finally got my driver's license on Wednesday, and I got to celebrate the day by going to get Mexican food out in Palm Springs. That's where I took my test. Really cool area. There was a Mexican food place that had been there since 1958, I think. I don't remember the name off the top of my head, but kind of a hole in the wall, fantastic food. As I dropped my phone, so I'd have to figure out the name of the place again, because I highly suggest going there. If you're ever in the Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Indio area, I highly suggest driving downtown Palm Springs. It's north of the main strip. If you know where the Bob Hope Star is, just keep going north from there on the other side, because the Bob Hope Star is on the west side of the strip, right in front of the hotel. So it's on the restaurants on the east side of the strip. It's past which stars are up there, I don't know, but I saw a couple stars there of people that I know, like Larry Gilbert is the creator of one of my favorite shows, MASH. I know I'm such an old soul for liking MASH. I'm even more of an old soul for seeing Hal Linden's star and recognizing him immediately as Barney Miller. Those are both shows that started in the 70s. I highly suggest watching them because they're very funny. But on Saturday we went to the USC versus UCLA football game at the Coliseum. I took some videos on Snapchat, which I'll edit those towards the end of this video. Can I just say, those referees, after the first quarter, the second quarter hit, and all of a sudden the referees were, they were hometowning USC in their hometown. There were so many bad calls and so many missed calls that went UCLA's way. UCLA, if you saw the game, you know that they ended up winning 62-33, which I personally believe if UCLA had been called for some penalties, and some penalties that were not penalties that were called on USC, if you take those away, it would have been a much better game. I'm not gonna say that USC would win because, you know, I'm a little biased, as you could tell. I don't play for USC or anything, but, you know, I just have the shirt so I could work out. But so they ended up losing. Everybody was upset. We got to sit in the we got great seats in the student section, but we were at the very top row, right when you first enter and step down into the student section area. We sat on the very first row of seats, right at the edge of the stairway down, and there's a little tiny gap behind our seats where people can, you know, walk through. The intent is for people to walk through, but there were a whole bunch of students that decided to line up directly behind us and were hovering over us the entire game. And if you ever go to the Coliseum. And if you ever go to USC and you're a student there, please do not do that. Do not do that to people. It is extremely uncomfortable, especially since there were couples making out right on top of my head like that. It's extremely uncomfortable. And to the point where my dad actually got fed up. I had left to go and get something to eat, and apparently my dad got security involved to try to get those kids to move, because they kept hitting me in the back of the head. They kept kicking our seats, and yeah, it wasn't very pleasant, especially with USC losing. It just wasn't a very pleasant experience for that time. I mean, it was great to be there. I absolutely loved it. Great to see the game. There were some really good plays that USC had, some plays that made you think like, oh, come on, why are you doing that? But yeah, they ended up losing. This was my second USC game this year. I went to the game against Stanford, and if you remember that, they ended up losing, but I had gotten a hat and it ended up being too big, so I got another one, a size a little bit lower. But yeah, I'm able to deck out in USC gear now. So there was that. Now, yesterday, this is Sunday, because today is Monday. I don't know when you see this. Depends on when you see this. It could be Wednesday. But today is Monday, the 22nd. I don't know. I don't really remember the date. So yesterday, on Sunday, me and my parents said, hey, we're gonna go look for a car for you. Now that you have your license. I was like, okay, so we're just going out looking. We go to a dealership and we end up finding this beauty. I've decided to name my car. It's a Ford EcoSport 2018. It had 5,500 miles. It was like perfect, and a sunroof. So it was, honestly, it was perfect. It really was perfect. But yeah, a little bit pricey. Well, they were asking for too much at first, and then, you know, my dad had to hardball just to get them to bring the price down. But yeah, I decided to name my car, since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is one of my favorite movies. I decided to name my car Tanner. Originally, my phone was named Tanner, so I decided to name my car Tanner, and I changed my phone's name to the 14 Fists of McCluskey. It's a reference to the Musso and Frank Grill scene in the movie where Mr. Schwartz, Al Pacino, Mr. Schwartz, has to correct Rick Dalton in saying Schwartz, not Schwartz. But Rick Dalton had made a couple movies where Mr. Schwartz was talking about how, my voice is still kind of gone, so sorry for the voice cracking. But Mr. Schwartz was telling Rick, he's like, I just watched a Rick Dalton double feature last night, so I think I know who you are. You know, it's basically the gist of the line. And the double feature was Tanner and the 14 Fists of McCluskey. Tanner, they didn't really show much of anything for a plot for Tanner, but they filmed, they showed a small scene from the 14 Fists of McCluskey, and if you've ever seen Tarantino's work, you'd know that's a direct reference to the Inglourious Bastards. That was his fifth film, if you're counting Kill Bill as one, like fifth or sixth. It was starring Brad Pitt, and Christoph Waltz is an extremely haunting Hans Landa. And yeah, that put Christoph Waltz on the map. He was in The French Dispatch very briefly, very quick scene, But ever since watching him in Inglourious Bastards, I've really liked him because he's a fantastic actor. Like, you see that movie, he's extremely scary. He kind of haunts your dreams a little bit there. But so yeah, my car is now named Tanner. My phone is now named the 14/5 to McCluskey. I just finished a workout, and yeah, just checking up on you guys. I plan to do some more vlogging in the near future. I haven't been vlogging because I've had a storage issue with my phone. You know, I take way too many pictures of my cats and way too many videos on Snapchat. My Snapchat feed is like almost all sumo, because I'm a big fan of sumo, and there's a couple wrestlers I really like, and I really like to film their videos, like film their bouts. Which super sad to hear that Hakuho retired, one of the greatest sumo wrestlers ever. He is the greatest sumo wrestler ever, hands down. But yeah, that's pretty much it up until now. I kind of brought you up to date. My voice is still gone, so hopefully I get my voice back by my next video. But I'm gonna go ahead and sign off for now. I plan to be going to Universal Studios at some point coming up. I'm still brand new driver, so I'm not gonna go on my own just yet, but I will in the future. So like, give me a year and I'll be filming a lot more at Universal Studios on my own, you know. And I plan to go to Disneyland sometime in December. So yeah, I will try to film from Disneyland in December. I'll try to get out to Universal Studios, and I'm gonna go, I have a car now, so now I could go explore some places that I really want to share with people. So yeah, so thanks for joining me on a not very good vlog. I'm gonna add add some of those Snapchat videos from the USC game to the end of this video. But until next time, signing off for now.
We're about to come out. Let's go.
I need your hands in the air right now. The party right now. Let's start the
Oh, yo, oh, yeah, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the Spirit of Troy, the University of Southern California.